I'll tell you in 5.
Am I going to be on the screen behind you? Okay. Are we using a landline or Wi-Fi?
All right. Welcome, everyone, to a very special edition of the SVK Network. One of the shows where...
Would you like that?
Can you hear me now? Can you hear me better now? Is that working? All right.
It's your volume. That volume.
What about it?
Sound great.
Oh, good. Perfect. So we're sounding great. All right. So we have a very special show, SVK show for everybody. We're actually live at the Restaurants Canada trade show, and we have James here from Beyond Meat that's going to talk about some of the new exciting products. I mean, welcome, James. You're hot off the press from a trade show you were talking about down in Vegas. You want to maybe touch on what you guys are doing down there?
Yeah, always promoting the plant-based category, Beyond Meat. So yeah, we were down showing our new pepperoni, a dry-cured pepperoni that is, in my opinion, second to none, really. Even though I work for the company, it tastes good. Yeah. But no, being at RCshow and seeing, again, people and restaurants looking for that new piece, that new menu item, something to draw in more people is great. And shows like this are important to the industry that really bring out. And it's great to have a venue like this where we can actually broadcast and people can see what's happening behind me and see what's in front of them and all that good stuff.
But absolutely, yeah. I love coming here for the exact same reason. It's kind of like the conversations that are happening in the aisles or that are happening at the events. Like that's where you're actually learning about the industry, because when we're all remote, which we've been a lot, you see what's online, but you don't hear, the side chatter. And a lot of the cool ideas, it generally comes from two people coming together and just talking about what they're up to.
That's right. It's a what if conversation, or what is that? It's the what.
Yeah.
That you hear on the red carpet. So I'm looking around and you can't see it always, but there's a red carpet where people are chatting, and you totally nailed it.
Well, this whole idea of like serendipity, right? Of like running into finding the right people at the right time doesn't exactly exist online so much, because it's almost like hyper targeted, or like, you're put into a box and that's what you're shown. But when you come here, you've expanded your view, you've expanded who you're talking to, and you can run into anybody and have those what if conversations. So
my home office is great. There's not a lot of bouncing ideas off the wall that it doesn't look like I'm talking to myself. Right?
Yeah. Hey, it's nice to be the smartest guy in the room, but not when you're the only guy in the room, right?
Oh, sadly, that happens a lot.
Yeah. So what have you seen? What have you seen so far, like maybe in your category at the show, that's kind of exciting or that you didn't expect to see?
Yeah, you know what? I'm seeing the move away from just plant-based burgers.
Yeah.
So whether it be ours or a competition, plant-based is in terms of this category, is expanding past that round preformed patty that it's been on menus for a long time. Hey, they're great products out there. It's an important staple to have, I believe. But with the invention of the adventation of the pepperoni, the steak strip, there's a pulled chicken. There's other companies that have a chicken product that are out there today. You know what? Plant-based is the future.
Yep.
It as much as we love animal protein, and you know what? I admit I do eat animal protein twice a week. But at the same time, this is where the future of food is going. And it is light years away from where it was even 5 years ago, where you try a product and you go, oh, it's a little chalky, it has a weird aftertaste, a chemical finish. Now, and we'll get you to try this pizza with the steak strip. It is steak. It is, and
There's no mistake anymore.
There's no mistake in the steak. I love it. It's a different aspect of the game, right? So you're able to bring in a product into a category that didn't exist before, and your consumer's not going to push it back and say, I don't like it, or, ooh, what is that? It doesn't exist. Same with the cheeses. It's all coming together as being one broad category that can easily fold in. Yeah. And that's what I'm excited about plant-based, because it can fold in with really there's no hiccup, there's no gap in taste, there's no gap in performance anymore where it could have 5 years ago.
So, I mean, maybe you're going to have to coin this or invent this, but there's the Turing test with AI, and we have robots all around us now, right? But there's got to be the Turing test of when you can just, eat meat and you're not sure if it's plant-based or if it's protein-based. And I think you're saying we're getting close to that?
I think if you try the pizza and try the steak, you'll get that.
Awesome.
When I was in doing the Pizza Expo in Vegas, we did the pepperoni. And I would always hear, you sure that's plant-based? Are you sure? I've been, a few people come up and say, I've been vegan now and no meat for 16 years. But I want to make sure, because I don't want to break my record. I don't want to break my effort I put into it.
Yeah.
And nope, your safety, this particular pizza that we made, because we did have an animal cheese protein for one, and then one was completely plant-based like these. And you never know the difference. Yep. Even those who are hardcore New York pizzerias were coming in and trying this pepperoni and going, you know what? There's something there.
If you can make it there, if you can make it with those guys.
Yeah, it's Vegas. Make it there, you make it anywhere, right?
Yeah. You're convincing guys in New York who are in Vegas that you've got great pepperoni. That's fantastic. Now, you talked about the burger as being that was the entry, right? Everybody's making plant-based burgers. Now, what a better platform could you choose than, say, pizza? Because you can put anything on here. So you talked about pepperoni, steaks, cheese, chicken. Is there anything else coming out that people haven't seen yet? Yeah,
you know what? It's the adoptions of the ground. So we have a 2-pound brick, we call it. Yep. It's a ground beef, but it's a plant-based. So it's for us, it's non-GMO, non-soy. Important factors. That is where ground beef can now make a play back into pizza, where you may have taken ground beef off if you're plant-based or vegetarian, thinking, well, it's in the name, why would I have that? But you may have a broccoli and beef pizza that you want to use, where you don't want to use steak, but you want to use a ground product. Yeah. There is options that way.
I mean, you guys can definitely put together a nice meat lovers with the crumbled ground plant-based beef and everything, right?
And then getting into even some of your staples, where if you're making a shepherd's pie, where it's a ground animal protein heavier based product, you can now get into the ground and substitute it. You don't need to be afraid of the product. If you've never cooked with it before, it's the same as animal protein when you cook.
Yeah.
So it is a choice. So you can choose either animal protein or plant-based protein, and you're going to get the same experience, same mouthfeel, same delivery. And that's where the industry is exciting, is that it does deliver the same similar type of experience, only it's more geared towards more climate protection. Yep. And also you're saving water and energy and all the stats that we would have that would show where we're more environmentally sound. A plant it comes from is green, which does photosynthesis, right?
Yeah.
So it's creating oxygen, it's pulling it in, where alternate proteins are a little bit different.
They're generating different gases.
Yeah, and it's not that they're bad, it's just a different idea.
And that's it, right? It doesn't have to be, one has to be bad, one has to be good, and it doesn't, there's definitely going to be a balance where they coexist. But to your point, if we don't have enough protein to sustain the world moving forward,
that's right.
What would be so somebody who has maybe not dove in yet or hasn't taken that plunge to try all this, what are some of the common things that come up that they're surprised about or that you'd want people to know before they try, or to say, hey, jump on in?
It's the taste and the texture.
Yeah.
So when you bite into say, let's use the burger.
Yeah.
The burger, the patty is one part of it, but the burger really exists in the bun and the condiments and the vegetables you put on it.
Yep.
So when you bite into a plant-based burger, it has that same mouthfeel, same texture, the same pull, without that fat, that cholesterol hit, that extra salty, extra whatever may be in it. It is not that hamburger's mystery meat, because it's not. That's not what I'm saying. It's just that plant-based has less fat. in the product.
Well, I'm a big texture guy, and that would probably be the first thing that I would have said the first time I tried it was that, you know, you bite into it, you get that taste, it's there, but then eventually you start chewing, and this was years ago, and then all of a sudden it's like, okay, now I know that I'm not eating, you know, ground beef, or I know that I'm not eating that burger, but that was like right when it launched. So I'm actually excited to try some of these out to see.
Oh no, absolutely, and I don't know how we pass here, but
I'll get it all, buddy.
yeah, we'll start throwing pizzas. Let's start dealing pizza. So this is the steak tip, which has got a so the steak is actually marinated or tossed in a little chimichurri sauce. And I'll go pepperoni to you, Jay, if you really want
There we
pepperoni.
go. Steak tips.
And then I'm going to try a piece in a second too, because
Try this.
this one's complete vegan, no animal at all. It's all plant based.
Give me a first.
All right.
I think it's parmesan crust. I don't know about the crust. I had someone made it for me, the crust, but there's no animal in the crust. You can't eat the crust? Here. Do you want this knife to scrape off the pepperoni too? Can't reach.
Pepperoni picker.
You pepperoni picker.
Pepperoni
So I'm gonna have a little bit of the steak.
Go. Oh yeah.
The steak, listen. So many uses for this. You can throw it in anything where there's steak. It has the same bite, the same chew, and because it's plant based, it's going to soak in flavors. It's not going to leave the flavor necessarily on the outside like animal protein. It's going to penetrate right to the center.
You guys got the texture now.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
You like it? Did you do this one?
Yeah.
It'll blow your mind.
It bites like, chews like beef.
Yep.
Yeah. It's like the steak, not the pepperoni. You're having the pepperoni. We're having the steak. Different conversations going on around here.
I'm cherry picking some pepperoni here.
Yeah, that pepperoni's got that little dry cured spice in the back of your throat. It has that taste.
That nice spice that kicks in. Slight delay.
We think of all the schools that have pizza programs.
Yep.
Across Ontario, where they'll do for those who can't or won't eat meat, they get a plain cheese pepperoni or plain cheese pizza.
Yeah.
And then looking at the kid beside him and going, well, how come you get pepperoni and I don't? Why is there no option for me? And this gives them that option.
And the choice now, it's no longer, to your point, like you just have the pizza day, you have this. Like with that bait, we're working with schools to do the mobile ordering where, you know, they want to know nutritional value. They want to know the parents are actually pre-ordering their week. So like they actually get to see what the food schedule is. And then they can say, you know, we can customize. So you know what, maybe they want to have like a, you know, protein pizza on like Friday, but if they want pizza again, let's sub in a healthier choice. And parents are looking for that. And now they actually have the ability to like place those kind of customized food plans for their kids, and now they have options. But
absolutely, and think about.
I'm telling you, you put this in front of me, mix it in with a bunch of different meat. I'm not going to be able to tell anymore.
And you're not going to feel like you're missing out.
Yeah,
like you're not going to feel like you're missing out on the beef piece because it has that bite, that texture, the flavoring is going to be whatever dish you want it to be in.
And you bring up an interesting point around the missing out factor, because like we surround events, and like there's certain events where food is at, and like, you know, having a hot dog at a ball game, right? Or, you know, having that backyard barbecue. And now people they aren't going to miss out on not only like the experience of just doing that, but even the flavor now. Like they don't have to sacrifice or just go with the one veggie burger option that existed, right? Which was, you know, never ideal. So.
Because we all want choice when we go deep.
Yeah.
You know, as much as menus have to be pared down just because of the inflation and cost, different show. They're paring down, but this is a category, it doesn't need to be left out. So if you're using a 3PD, a third-party delivery, have a drop-down menu where you can substitute or have an alternate choice for those who make, you know, I want a Philly steak and cheese.
Yep.
Well, drop it down for $1 more. You've got Beyond Steak.
Yep.
And all of a sudden you got a whole different avenue open up to the customer to say, yeah, I'm going to order from that. No longer a barrier not to order. And that's kind of where plant-based is, where I feel is going, where we want to talk about is more, how do we get across that menu more often?
Yep. And now people have, to your point, they have the choice, because, you know, if you're going through online ordering, mobile ordering, doing your takeout, it's like you have the time to go through and see these extra options, and you're not really detracting from the experience where someone's like might come to the side of the table and just list off every ingredient they have. There's so many different ways to order and interact with restaurants now.
Absolutely.
So you have those choices, and people want choice, as you said. They want the transparency as well. They want to know what what they're eating. They want to know like what the health factors are, and people are more conscious. So it's,
Absolutely.
it's great to have choice.
How many times yourself? You're going to go out for dinner for a party of 4, your buddies, or couples, whatever. You check out the menu before you go to the restaurant, so you can peruse right off the bat if they have an option for you, and if they don't, we're going somewhere else.
Yep.
And that's the reality of how we shop today, right? Because really, we shop our menu before we go. We may say, I'm going to have the healthier option before we go there, but when we get there and see that steak or the heavy-duty pasta blow by you go, I'm going to get that. It's all interactive.
In a minute. All right. You got to try some of this new Beyond Meat product.
Yeah,
like, oh
pizza.
my gosh.
Yeah, this is the Beyond Steak.
They've got the texture down. They've got the taste down. Cherry pick some of that steak up there.
Yeah.
Or bite into it. It's like the plant-based cheese as well.
The steak they've nailed.
Yeah.
Try that pepperoni. That is a dry. It's plant-based, but it is like a dry. It is dry cured. It is the belle of the ball, as I call it. And that steak is pretty dang good. That pepperoni. It is. Yeah, it's a brand new pepperoni we just launched. Yeah. Right?
Like I said, they nailed taste a while ago. Now they've nailed texture, and
The steak where you really need the flavor.
yeah.
It has that beef. So when you get a beef strip, almost like it's a prime rib tip, because it has that little bit of a snap to it.
So for those tuning in remote, we have Matt and Don joined us from Cisco here and from Michael's table to try out this, and looks like we hooked another couple of fans here.
You would never really. I'm going to trick anybody. You would never. That's fine. You would never know that it's plant-based.
Yeah.
And the cheese is plant-based as well. From
Yeah, and you're talking to an owner-operator right there, so you can get her approval.
Thanks for stopping by.
Yeah.
No, glad to have
Don,
you.
it's actually nice to see you in real life. Considering the fact that your restaurant's in my hometown, and we still haven't been able to meet IRL, so it's very cool.
That's usually the way it is, sadly, isn't it?
Yeah. Yeah, very, very good.
Brilliant.
Sorry.
Thank you. No, I'm glad you tried it. Glad you tried it. Thank you very much.
So there we go. We got another fan.
It's with this category, I find you have to try it.
Yeah.
I can tell you it's going to taste snap and be spicy and taste like dry cured, but until you've tried the product, and even if you're a strong, let's say a animal-based protein of pepperoni, once you try that pepperoni, you're gonna say, wow, right? It's hard to tell.
I'll be honest. Like my experience was what I was describing. Of like I tried some of the early stuff, and then Jay's like, "Hey man, we got Beyond Meat's coming on the show," and I'm just like, "Cool, like okay, like that stuff." So like, had I not tried this, I would have not believed what you were saying. You
would have kept walking. Yeah,
oh, absolutely. So that's it.
And that's the beauty about infancy of any industry is that you have the trials and tribulations to get there, and once they hit it hits, and in terms of texture and the taste, it is important.
Yeah. Well, what would be like? Make sure we're good. Right. So,
Live TV,
so you mentioned it, trying it, right? Like, what's the best way for somebody who, whether you're in the industry or you want to try for your restaurant, or you're just curious? Like, is there a good way for people to find out where they can try these new products? Or
yeah, absolutely. So you go to beyondmeat.com for sure. Interact there, and there may be avenues for sampling there. But also, we are in retail, so we're in every store for your home use trial. But a lot of restaurants are adapting it. So through Cisco and other places, there are restaurants carrying the product, and really it's just being that a little adventurous when you go to eat.
Yep.
We've been cooped up, if you will, for the past 3 years. We're just getting out now, and we've been eating the same things at home for a while, whether it's a delivery service or going to a grocery store. Now is the time to get out and really try what foods are out there. But also, if you're in the industry and you're listening, this is where you're going to try it all. Right? Shows like this.
This is it.
Distributor shows where you're going to see and try that product without risk.
Well, and to your point, like coming to the trade show and you hear the chatter and you really learn about what's going on from the people that are here versus like what you see online. It's the same idea with going out to the restaurant. Like you might go to a restaurant that serves Beyond Meat, but not until somebody walks past with like some sizzling steak, steak tips that you might be like, all right, you know what? Yeah, let's try this out. So I think that's important. People need to get out and try it because
the fajita effect, I call it. Yeah, right. You walk by it, you buy it. Oh, he's like, oh, this is awesome.
I mean, there are definitely items in a restaurant that get people to order them based on seeing them or smelling them or hearing them, right? With that sizzle and like, so do you still get that with like the pepperoni and the steak and stuff? Like,
well, I think we will as we get it more into the market.
Yep.
So steak is kind of rolling in now. Pepperoni, we just like it's brand new.
Yep.
So we're just out talking about it today, obviously, in other places. But again, the pizza show is the start. Yep. The show is the next rollout, and then there are lots of interest to get it. So as we get operators on board, go to beyondmeat.com and we'll start putting our operator brands on. Yeah. If you're an operator listening and you're putting it on, please reach out. There may be avenue for us to get it on our site. Not everything can go on our site. We have limited space. Sure. But the conversation and engroaching us. And don't be afraid to reach out for samples if you're an operator listening. Reach out for samples and we'll have one of our sales team come out and talk to you.
Yeah.
Whether it's through your Cisco rep or us direct.
That's the other nice thing too, right? Is that it's not just a matter of like, hey, do you want to try this new product for your restaurant? But Beyond Meat itself is a brand, and what I've experienced today tells me that like I'm definitely going to be trying this more. And I am not paid, and I do not work for Cisco. But,
yeah.
But that's exactly it. If people are around you, restaurants around you are trying it, you're going to benefit from that brand awareness, and you're going to benefit from like, hey, people are talking about, Michael's Table down the street has Beyond Meat, right. And then you can try it out, and you're going to benefit from not only having a great new product, but the marketing or the joint marketing of it. So
absolutely, and it's I touched on it earlier in a seminar that I sat in with Jake. Owning that neighborhood, so understanding as an operator what's in around you and the demographic, and if you skew younger, plant-based is. It's starting to get an older ages group too, but it's really getting its flash, its design, its acceptance.
Yeah.
In that 35 below crowd.
So it's a way to get into that demographic as well. If you want
to bring that table in.
Yep.
Have the options that make sense to them. Otherwise, they walk on by.
What about when it comes to like the storage? Like when it comes to storage, packaging, like is it like refrigerated? Is it
all frozen?
All frozen.
Yeah,
okay.
And like most frozen products, it's good to use from frozen.
Yep.
It's using Imperial system, but 2.27 kg or 5 pound, whichever one you want to say.
Yeah.
So most of our boxes are 10 pound.
Okay.
So like the steak strip, 2 bags, 10 pound bags. Again, ready to go. We have from some of the beautiful boxes. We still use the lithographic green and white boxes.
Okay.
So we haven't migrated to cardboard ground yet, so you can still tell our products.
Nice. But I mean, just I guess to kind of touch on that, there's no real special storage requirements. There's no real special prep or equipment needed. It's just if you have a restaurant, you're set up already.
If you use an animal protein today, you can fold in plant-based protein, no problem. And because it doesn't have an animal component, it is, handling. I'm not saying you don't abuse it, but handling is not as sensitive as a chicken product would be, right?
Because you're not worried about juices flowing that could potentially cause issues, and you name it, right? So that's very cool.
You don't get the kitchen nightmares thing where they find the bucket of chicken in the bottom of the fridge that's 2 weeks old. You
that's it. So I mean, the only thing that I would have said coming in before here is just around that texture piece, and like, have you got there? You guys are there. So it seems like people can go to Beyond Meat, they can get samples, they can offer this as an option. There's no special prep notes, there's no special like storage requirements. So
freezer, and you're ready to go.
And right now, as far as trends and marketability, you guys are right up there. So it seems like never been a better time.
It's a good company to partner with as you explore your Beyond Meat, because we are, well. You go to the beyondmeat.com, and I know I said it 3 times now. I've done my duty. Yeah. Everything is there. Cool. In how we interact social, how we have toolkits now for operators. We're trying to get more involved in the operator's business to help them promote a category that is still new, and not everybody has stepped into it yet. But the consumer has. Their customer is in it. And we got into it. Honestly, a little side stories. My son, he plays hockey, sports, nutrition. We should introduce plant-based into the diet. You saw Kyrie Irving talking about it on TV and for a U.S. channel, and it's just a different piece in his diet to help him stay at his top performance, right?
Well, anybody that talks about performance based, like trying to put on size or trying to put on that, it's like they struggle to eat that much protein. They struggle to eat that, especially that much meat, and it's also like you probably shouldn't be eating that much meat to get that big, right?
There's a side effect to that.
There is.
Yeah.
So now they have a way to supplement that with Beyond Meat, which to your point is going to be healthier, and you're still going to get the same, still be able to gain the same, right?
Yeah, and you're getting a protein, you're getting a texture and the look of a protein you like. Even for those who maybe don't eat meat, but they look at it and say, well, it's too much like meat. Well, it may look like, but it isn't, and it doesn't come from the source that you don't want to partake in.
Well, and let's just talk about the idea of, some people don't eat meat because it's of health issues, right?
Yeah.
But some people don't eat because it's a lifestyle choice, or they want to, or they're supporting a spouse, or they're supporting family members. But like I know a friend of mine, my best friend, it's like, he supports his wife and he goes vegetarian, but he has a steak and he's like, oh my God, why do I not eat this all the time? But now you have an option that says, hey, you can continue to live that lifestyle. You can support the people around you. But you're not going to sacrifice as much anymore because you can have that, beautiful.
And you're not cooking 2 meals.
And you're not cooking 2 meals. It's really good.
If you're doing a steak pasta or a steak sandwich, you want.
Do you have a lot of protein?
Personally, eat a lot of protein. I do.
It's like the soy.
Thanks, man. Appreciate it.
Plant-based protein.
Yeah, it's plant-based. It's now part of my diet, right? It's
He's
folded
actually
right in.
75 years old.
Yeah, not a day under.
85, yeah.
Depends who I'm talking to.
Yeah.
Look
Awesome.
at you picking the pepperoni off the pizza over there. Good for you. It is good pepperoni. And I can't wait to show you all the different products over the period of time as we launch more and get across the menu. As I said earlier, burger's great. Always want to support the burger, but we do plant-based is for the category is to grow across all dishes.
Yeah.
Right? That's the part.
Just thinking, there's as far as a restaurant as well, right? Like, even if you want to bring in something like steak, then it's like you can still offer a steak type, product on your menu, but maybe not have to manage the storage. Buying it is expensive, and so people that there might be just 1 or 2 of those protein categories that they can just replace with Beyond Meat, and it might simplify their supply chain, their prep, all of that.
Because it can be used in multiple levels.
Yeah.
Like you can, if it's our chicken tender, it can be cut up and used in any kind of wrap you possibly would have. My favorite wrap, I am a Thai chili wrap. I like it with the,
I would actually, Thai chili is amazing. I'm the classic chicken Caesar wrap guy.
Oh yeah. I think it was a big chain took it off the menu. My son was so disappointed.
Where would people not traditionally put this that they could?
Oh, I would throw it in.
Vegetarian dish.
Yeah, well, it can be used. Yeah, well, again, it's going to be good. A beer with a steak. Well, in a stromboli, you could put it in a stromboli sandwich. The deli meat sandwich. What's been almost like the
polka dot steaks. It's going to be a steak with the pepperoni.
Yeah.
It has.
It's great on little appetizers for those little cocktail parties as we get around that have the old, the old ham, maraschino, cherry, and now the pepperoni on a little crouton, if you will.
Any kind of Caesar cocktails, right? You can definitely
Never even thought about a beverage.
Right.
Yeah, as more people dress up the tomato-based beverages, will there be a Caesar?
Did you say Caesar?
Yeah.
Well, then think about.
I'm gonna use that.
Fancy Caesars and stuff. It's that is a huge draw for it. Not only defining your restaurant, but there's a lot of good extra income there, especially with the cost of everything today. You need a way to actually add value because prices are higher. So it's you're going to be able to add that value to make it worthwhile.
Absolutely. I hadn't even thought about that. That's brilliant. And hey,
Benefit.
With plant-based egg wraps that you see now, you see the plant-based egg that can be used, pepperoni, bacon, whatever can go in there, or the plant-based bacons can go in there.
Those breakfast items, right? Especially if you have health concerns, right? You want that protein in the morning. You want something that's going to help you feel full. But man, there's definitely mornings where I'm like, oh man, I had a big night last night or something, and having greasy bacon might not be the best thing for me right now.
That's right. We still want the mouthfeel of a protein.
And you guys have a bacon?
We have a sausage patty actually.
Nice.
Yeah, so it's a good one too. I think a big chain just Cora's just ran a promotion with it.
Awesome.
Benedict. It was very successful. And you know what? It's again, day parts, right?
Yeah.
We're across menu now on mostly everything. So from our dinner sausages to that breakfast sausage, it is everything now can be done in a plant-based without compromise.
Yep.
And you don't feel like you're excluding anybody.
I mean, like I would see, like especially these like steak tips. Like it's late at night. I mean, hell, I can use a plant-based cheese. I can have the steak tips on there, make some nachos for the crowd, or even just having like cocktails. Or, like you're having like a cocktail hour, and you can just throw it out on a, throw it out on a plate, and you don't have to ask the question of like, are you vegetarian? What are your dietary restrictions? It's like we've got you covered, and you're not sacrificing anything.
And you may actually get the comment of, "You sure?
Yeah.
Are you sure? Because I haven't eaten meat in 10 years. Is that my thing? You're good to go."
Isn't that the compliment you guys want to receive? I mean, I'm sure you guys are going to be running that, Are You Sure marketing campaign soon, right?
Oh, yeah.
Hashtag no
Maybe
mistake.
someone's here can this is, yeah. Hashtag, yeah. Yes, I'm not lying to you. It's really plant-based product. Yeah, that would see. Brilliant.
All you're going to have, like I never see the advertisement where you've got the person in front of Congress answering the questions, and they're just like, Mr. Congress, you're telling me.
Yes, I am. It is not meat. It is not animal.
Are you wrapping up?
We can.
Wrap up.
Sure. I try. Do I have to say?
You can say
Over
this
20
long.
years. Yeah.
This long.
Not that long?
I want to be in this long.
So I caught a fish this big.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, it's been a few years. So I've worked in a bunch of different categories. This I find the most exciting overall, though, because it's infancy. People are trying it. And it is discovery, right? I didn't realize it tasted like that. I can't eat dairy, so I do the plant-based cheeses. But I remember when plant-based milk first came out, my poor wife tried more milks than possible because I was skeptical.
Yep.
But now they're fine. But it took a couple of years. I think Beyond's reached it already.
Very cool. No, I mean,
All right.
you've converted one person here at least. I'm pretty sure we converted a few that were walking by.
Well, if Michael Sable wants to come by for samples, we're glad to give him any more.
Absolutely. And so you guys have an exhibit at the show? Do you guys?
We're not in the show this year. Timing was working against us, but our products are being shown in the Dea booth, and I think there's a couple other booths I'm not aware of that they're using the plant-based as their protein on the pizza sandwiches.
Very cool. Well, thank you so much for coming on the show.
I thank you.
This was a great discussion. I learned so much. I'm very excited for the future of Beyond Meat, and hopefully you enjoy the rest of the show.
Oh, I plan to tour around and see what's out and what's new and exciting, and maybe catch up with a couple of old friends along the way.
That's right.
Cool.
Bump some elbows and find out what the side conversations are. What's coming up?
Listening without eavesdropping.
We made it.
You did it.
I think so. Am I out?
Well, you did well.
I think so. Hey, listen, we talked.
So you'll feed it back like this. You sort of talk. It's like after the shows, they talk afterwards. You're like, what are you talking about?
Well,